So a few days ago, I got my hair cut for the first time in 4 years, and I thought now would be a good time to, first of all, reflect on what that experience was like sitting in a hairdresser's chair for the first time in 4 years, and also to give you guys some of my tips on how I was able to go from really short, bleached, dyed, and damaged hair to the super long natural hair that I have now. It's not as like extremely shockingly long as it was before the haircut. I measured it. It is now at 60 centimeters, which is, okay, so it's about 23 to 24 inches now. I think the hairdresser probably cut off about like at least 10, but possibly up to 20 centimeters off my hair because it was extremely damaged. I hadn't like maintained the ends of it properly, so she did have to cut quite a lot away. But yeah, if you're trying to grow your hair out, then this is a great video for you. And also if you just want to hear about my hair salon experience, then this is a good video for you. But first I'm going to start with the tips because I think that's probably what's most helpful and interesting for most of the people who are watching this video. So if you want to hear more about my whole like hair story and hair history, then you can watch this video. I think it's over there. I will link it. But to sum it all up, I used to have short hair. I used to do bobs and pixie cuts. I used to have like multicolored blue and bleached and pink and all the rainbow colors hair. And then it got really damaged and really dry and I had like scalp damage and hair loss. So I decided to stop bleaching and coloring my hair and to just let it grow out natural. You will see it now has like a slight red tint, but this is I'm currently only dyeing it with like dyes that do not contain peroxides or bleach or ammonia or anything. So nothing chemical, nothing that like basically digs into the inner layers of the hair. It's just, you know, I'm using the Sias Color Glow or dyes like Manic Panic or Lime Crime, which are basically just pigment but no harsh chemicals. So it's essentially just the equivalent of like dipping your hair in Kool-Aid. It's like a stain on the surface of the hair but doesn't go into the inner layers of the hair. That might change soon though. I'm thinking of dyeing it with a permanent dye, but I'll talk about that in a different video. So how was I able to grow my hair out long and what would I do differently? Starting off, if your goal is to grow your hair as long as possible, then my strong advice would be do not dye it with permanent dyes, do not bleach it, and to also avoid using heat tools as much as possible. So I only towel dry my hair. I do not blow dry it. I do not straighten or curl it. And I do not use any chemical dyes or any box dyes, nothing that uses like developer or bleach or anything like that. Only pigments. The reason for this is because the longer that your hair gets, essentially the older that it is, like this hair that's here on the ends has been there for a very long time. And as your hair gets older, it gets more susceptible to damage because, you know, it gets a little tired. It goes through all the tangles and the brushing and the weather and all the different things that can change your hair texture. And heat tools and chemical dyes, you know, they dry out your hair, they strip it of proteins, they open up the keratin layer on the surface of the hair, which can cause it to be more easily tangled, which can cause split ends, which can give it like a rougher, drier feeling texture. So for the highest quality, healthiest possible long hair, I would definitely recommend to avoid any heat tools and any like permanent dyes. The next thing I did, which I don't necessarily recommend that you do this, but this is just how I've gone about my hair journey, I do not brush my hair. Like maybe once a month or every 2 weeks I will go through it, or if it gets like a really, really nasty tangle, then I will brush it. But I do not brush my hair on the daily. And so far it's been kind of fine. Like sometimes it does get really, really tangled and I do have to brush it. And I think I'm going to start brushing it more often now, but I wouldn't say there's necessarily any specific benefits to this. I just personally like to be as low maintenance as possible with my hair, and I didn't feel like my hair necessarily really needed to be brushed, and so I don't brush it. If you do brush your hair, don't brush it while it's wet because that can it stretches out the hair, because when it's wet it's more stretchy, and if you brush it while it's wet it stretches out like an elastic band and then it gets thinner and kind of frail. I think there might be different rules for curly hair though, so if you have curly hair you might want to brush it while it's wet, or so I've heard. I'm not really sure. And when I do brush my hair, I use a wooden brush because apparently wooden brushes are better for distributing the oils from your scalp to the like full lengths of your hair, and it basically just helps to like condition and moisturize the rest of your hair. My next tip is I do not wash my hair too often. I wash it, I think, every like 4 days or so, just because the more, so like, you know, your scalp produces oil, and that oil is supposed to spread to your hair lengths and keep them moisturized. If you wash your hair too often and you have very long hair, then you're stripping all of those natural oils from your scalp, and essentially your scalp is not allowed to become oily enough to be able to nourish and hydrate and feed the lengths of your hair. This really depends on you and the type of scalp that you have. I have some scalp issues which I am still looking to resolve. I have to go see a dermatologist. I thought that my issue is that I have an oily scalp because after like 3 or 4 days, my scalp starts to feel very oily. It gets really, really, really itchy, flaky, and I get like these big chunks of stuff on my hair or like on my scalp. But when I went to the hairdresser, they had a look at my scalp and they said that it was extremely dry. So I'm not really sure what to believe because, I don't know, my hair was freshly washed when I went to the hairdresser, so maybe that's why it appeared kind of dry, but I have to see a dermatologist to actually get some real answers. Now let's talk about hair growth and actually getting your hair to grow. I want to stress very clearly that I have not tried any hacks to get my hair to grow faster. I don't necessarily really believe in any hacks or products that say that they can get your hair to grow faster. As a general rule, hair grows about 6 inches in a year, which is 15 centimeters. So for most people, if you have a healthy scalp and you don't cut your hair, you can expect to get 6 inches or 15 centimeters of growth every year. Here's where I went wrong. I did not go and get my hair trimmed regularly. Sometimes I would cut it myself in the sink, but not really carefully enough to get rid of all of the split ends. And the problem with split ends is that once the ends split, if you don't cut those off and get like a regular trim every 3 months or so, the split travels up the hair. So you end up with a longer, larger portion of hair that becomes damaged. And, you know, with split ends, you get that really like ugly, frizzy, thinning look. So that's why super long hair that's not properly maintained, it starts to just look very meh. It looks thinner, it looks unhealthy. Now that I have gone and gotten a proper trim and like cut off all of the unhealthy dead hair that I had, my hair looks as if it's much thicker. Like obviously nothing has changed. It's still the same amount of hair, but they cut out all of the damaged portions and all of the bits that were like frizzy and messy and tangled and thin. And now just overall, the hair has a much healthier, much more beautiful appearance. So yeah, as I said, you should get a trim every 3 months or so. And usually for a trim, they cut off 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters worth of hair. So if you get your hair trimmed 4 times a year, then you should still get, you know, about 10 centimeters worth of growth, or 10 centimeters worth of increase in length is what I mean. So, you know, if it grows 15 centimeters and then you cut off about 5 centimeters worth of hair in all your trims, then you're still left with 10 new centimeters of hair every year. So don't be scared to go to the hairdresser regularly. Just tell them, you know, I really just want a trim, only remove the split ends and that is it. And you're still going to see an increase in length and your hair is going to look healthier, fuller, shinier, and happier, and you're not gonna let it get those really bad, really damaged split ends that travel up the hair and ruin more and more of it. Now let's talk the product and hair care that I use. As I said, I'm very low maintenance with my hair. I'm very basic. I do not have a specific super expensive shampoo that I buy. I do not have specific super expensive products that I buy. I just use, you know, regular drugstore shampoos. If I could afford it, I would definitely invest in something better and that's more suited to my specific hair type, but right now it's just not a priority and I've still managed to get really nice, healthy, smooth hair without having to buy any like super fancy products. But I'll show you a few of the products that I do use in my hair, and keep in mind that these are not like things that I repurchase over and over. They're just things that I have tried and that are okay for me. So I use the Inkey List Salicylic Acid Exfoliating Scalp Treatment every once in a while. I bought this to see if it would help with my itchy scalp problem. I think it has helped, but you know, again, I do still have to go see a dermatologist and figure out what exactly is causing the itchiness and flakiness on my scalp to figure out what kind of products or ingredients are really like gonna help me. I also use the Peptide Volumizing Hair Treatment, which is a hair thickening serum from the Inkey List. This is just like a watery serum. I put some in my palms and then I like roughly spread it through my hair like this. I don't use this super often, but I think now that I've gone to the hairdresser and gotten a trim, like I'm feeling like this is a new start for my hair and I want to start taking better care of it and being more, you know, disciplined about actually using hair treatments and treating myself and my hair. So I probably will start using this more often, but this is just for like fine hair, and I suppose it's meant to like fortify and thicken and strengthen the hair. Then I have some products that I bought at the drugstore here in Germany. What brand is this? I think the brand is Hair Biology, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, okay, this is from Pantene. So this is the Pantene Hair Biology Anti-Frizz and Illuminate hair mask. Again, I don't use this super often, maybe like once a month or every 2 weeks, and it's just, you know, in the shower I shampoo my hair and then I put on this hair mask and I leave it on while I do the rest of my body, and then I wash it off after like 10 minutes or something. I also have the liquid keratin spray from Jean and Len Philosophy. So as I mentioned, the topmost layer of the hair is made out of keratin. It's the same stuff that makes up your nails. And I bought this liquid keratin spray because I figured it would help to just make the hair smoother and shinier. And again, just like fortify and strengthen the hair. And lastly, I have this oil from Rituals. It is a dry oil for body and hair. It looks like this. I just do like a couple of sprays in my palm, rub them together, and then like bring the oil like this through my hair, mostly through the ends especially. Yes, it does make my hair look oily, so I don't use it too often, and I usually need to wash my hair like a day or two after I have used this, but you know, oils are just good for nourishing the hair. So especially in winter, or just when I feel like my hair has gone through something and it's a little bit dry, I will use this just to make it smoother, shinier, and happier. And it also smells really good. Okay, those were my hair care and hair growth tips. And now let's talk about my experience going to the hairdresser for the first time in 4 years. So the last time I got a haircut was, I think, in like December 2018 or maybe January 2019, somewhere thereabouts. And I just had it cut to chin length, a very like straight, blunt chin length cut. And as I mentioned, since then I have not sat in a hairdresser's chair. I have like tried to trim it myself a few times, but not really very successfully or carefully or seriously. I don't think that I managed to get most of the damage out of it when I did that. It was just kind of like, I don't know, for placebo effect. But, you know, my sister wanted to go for a haircut and I kind of just spontaneously decided to go with her. So we walked in, and when I went in, my hair was like up in a bun, so you really couldn't see the full length of it. And, you know, I sat down in the chair. The girl who cut my hair was a trainee. There were 2 female hairdressers there, the trainee and an older lady who I guess was like the expert. So the older lady was cutting my sister's hair, and then I sat down in the trainee's chair and I kind of like, I undid my bun and I let my hair all like fall down my back, and she was immediately like, wow, like that is a lot of hair. And she like waved her colleague over and was like, hey, come take a look at this, and like showed her my hair and everything. And then she pretty much like asked me, she showed me, like she took it up and showed me, and she was like, this is everything that's like unhealthy. This is everything that we need to cut off. And I think it was about this much. It was like, I think maybe 10-15 centimeters worth of hair. And then she asked me like, do you want me to cut off just that much, or is it okay if I cut a little bit more? And I basically told her, yeah, it's okay if you cut a little bit more than that, just because like, yeah, I haven't had a haircut in a long time, and I figured if she cuts a little bit more, it's not a problem. It will probably just mean that I have, you know, healthier, I'm left with more healthy hair. I really didn't know what I wanted as a haircut. I just told her, like, I don't want any bangs. I don't want anything high maintenance. I want something super, super simple and just like give it a little bit of shape, give it a little bit of layering. And she said, like, okay, I'm gonna do some like really long pieces, kind of like curtain bangs, but longer in the front, and then just like trim it in the back basically. And I gotta say, this was like the fastest haircut of my life. Like, I don't know, like my whole life going to the hairdresser has been like a 2-hour long experience, right? Like they bring you coffee, they give you snacks. Like, I don't know, the way that it was in China when I went to the hairdresser, it was always like a 2-hour long experience, and it was super like very fancy. But she was literally done in like 15 minutes. Like I didn't even realize that she was done, and she was just like, okay, that's it. And it was super, super fast. They, like I said, they didn't have to wash my hair because it was freshly washed. It was even like still a little bit wet, but they were really, really nice, really professional. I talked to them about my like scalp itchiness issue, and they had a look at my scalp, and like I said, they said that it looks like it's really, really dry, and they recommended that I avoid shampoos with silicone because apparently those can be drying, or like they don't let the hair breathe. And they told me to just like use a hair mask or a scalp treatment of some kind, something hydrating, and to just like condition really, really well. But they were very nice, really friendly, and very complimentary to my hair. They said like the hair structure looks really good. It looks really, really healthy. It's totally like non-damaged other than the ends that they cut off. And yeah, they said I had really beautiful hair, and it made me feel really good about myself. And I don't know, it just feels like a fresh start, you know, because like I said, I haven't really been taking a lot of care of my hair. I've just kind of been letting it do its thing. But the fact that I now went and I got a haircut, and it wasn't expensive. I thought the haircuts in Germany were gonna be like super expensive. It ended up being like 15 euros, which is totally okay. I can totally pay that like every 3 months to maintain healthy hair. And just, you know, getting some love and getting some compliments on my hair definitely inspired me to use my hair products and my treatments more often, and to take better care of it, and just like try to maintain the healthiest hair possible. So I think when I went in, I'll put up some pictures that I took just a few days before I got my hair cut, but I think it was reaching kind of hip length, and as you can see now, like, I don't think it was actually hip length, but it was close to my hips. This is what we're working with now. Like, this is the current length. Hello, belly. It's basically just like covering my boobs, kind of. But I really like it. Like, she kind of just went with the scissors like through my hair, like kind of diagonally, to get this like slight layered look in these front pieces here. And it was really fast, but I think it really made a difference. Like, I don't know, my hair just, it looks like it's an actual haircut. Like before it was just long. It was just like straight and long and like all the same length, and just like, I don't know, hanging down like witch hair, which is very appropriate for the season, but was not necessarily very flattering or nice looking. But now I have an actual haircut, and I've learned my lesson. I've realized that I'm probably going to end up having to cut off more hair in the long run if I don't get regular trims. So I'm going to start going every 3 months or every 12 weeks, whatever, to go and get a trim. That is what's recommended. And like, who knows? I want to dye my hair soon permanently. I've gained a little bit of confidence because I was really worried that like if I do permanent dye on my hair, it's gonna get super dry, it's gonna get super unhealthy. But like, because they told me that my hair is so healthy right now, I figure if I do a little bit of permanent dye, it's probably gonna be okay. And I also think like my priorities are slowly shifting. Like for the longest time, my focus was just, I want the longest hair possible. But like I'm slowly getting like less, I'm getting a little bit disenchanted with the super long hair. So I feel like I'm ready to start playing with the color a little bit more. Nothing crazy, but just like, I want to go redhead. And with long hair, it is so hard to dye it yourself at home. It just gets, it's such a mess, you know. And the dyes that I use are basically the kind that it's like gone after 2 to 3 weeks. It's it says like 6 to 8 washes, the color will be completely gone. Like I dyed this red 2 weeks ago and now it's already like, it's still got a little bit of a tint of red to it, but it's mostly gone already. For me, the amount of time it takes and the hassle it takes to dye my hair is just not worth it if it's gonna wash out so quickly. So that's why I'm thinking of going permanent, but that's an update for another video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this was interesting. I feel like it was a little bit too long to just say, here's how I grow my hair out and I got a haircut, but hopefully you guys learned something or just enjoyed the little hairdresser story time. If you want to see more videos centered around lifestyle, wellness, self-care, and making money online and content creation, then please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!